of the issues he's facing, literally providing food to people all across Westchester. Thanks for taking some time today.
Thanks for having me.
Let's just talk a very general opening question. What do you pandemic? We know that restaurants have been shut down. We know that for those people who have food insecurity, this is a very difficult time. We normally have enough work to do, even in a county as wealthy as Westchester County, and trying to make sure that it has the food that they need. And now we're in the middle of a pandemic. What do you see as happening from your vantage point?
So in a normal year, we serve about 200,000 people across the county. That's children, seniors, families. And that can fluctuate seasonally, obviously, when people have jobs that are not constant for them. Over the holidays, maybe that might pick up, it might drop down. In a normal March, we would put out about 800,000 pounds of food across the county. We put out 1.5 million pounds of food this past March, from the start of the pandemic until the last day of the month. So that's an incredible amount of food in 1 month's time. We're trying to get a handle on numbers of people. We're working closely with all of our agencies, all of our partners out in the field to, again, just talking to them daily, having conference calls twice a week, trying to keep looped in. But for us, I mean, this is just the beginning of what we anticipate will be months and months and months of feeding more people than we've ever fed before in the county.
It's a very sobering assessment, and I think we're all trying to come to grips with just how long a duration we're going to be in these special and difficult times. Are you having any trouble with food supply, with sourcing, distribution around the county?
We are, just like everyone else is seeing, there was a run on canned goods, right? So we aren't seeing a shortage per se. We're just seeing a slowdown in the supply chain for food all across the country. What we're not seeing a shortage of are donated product coming from wholesalers and fresh produce coming out of Hunts Point, where we source twice a week. Now I think we might be up to 3 days a week. So we will always have enough food for people across the county. You may not get exactly what you want right now. You might just be getting vegetables and frozen meats that we have in our freezer here, and dairy products. We have a wonderful supply of yogurt from Danone. We have shelf-stable milk. We have cereal. So we have the food. We're just going to be shifting our model for the next few weeks to a lot more produce, which that creates a challenge on the distribution side, because you're talking about food pantries and soup kitchens that have a freezer system that maybe can hold a couple dozen frozen items, not the pounds that we need to be able to send out to them. They don't have the cold storage for the produce. So we're trying to solve for that right now. Some of the towns have started using their schools as drop sites. And so if the school's empty and the refrigerator is empty and we can put fresh produce in it, that's a great solution for everybody. So we're trying to replicate what's worked well in one town and take it to the next and find the right folks there and get them dialed in to help us get food into that area, because we are seeing pantries close, and it makes perfectly good sense. Some of the folks that run them are retired, they're older, they don't feel safe in the circumstances with the virus out there. So, and a lot of them are just tired. Like, it's hard to find volunteers right now. Sure. And it's hard to find time.
And volunteering over an extended period of time, you know, many volunteer programs, not just for food distribution, but other things, is give me an hour or two a week or every other week, and you can build it into a normal life schedule. Let's just double back, though. We've heard a lot of concern that the hoarding that's going on. Now, certainly we've heard it in terms of products like toilet paper, which
Sure.
I think all of us are kind of amazed that people would feel the need to have 2 years supply of toilet paper. But nonetheless, there's certainly a concern about hoarding food. And you've just indicated that the full food supply chain is not broken at this point.
Right.
What's your sense of how we encourage people not to hoard?
You know, what we saw early on is every time there was a press conference anywhere around the country, it would create some level of anxiety that would send people looking for resources, right? So when California did their entire statewide shelter in place, that was on a Thursday night. That morning, we had done a drive-by pickup here for food. I think we served 500 cars, and people would just pull up. They open their trunk. We put food in the trunk. We close the trunk, and they drive home. So we're able to put in frozen meats, dairy, produce. Just about anything and everything can go into those cars because they're coming straight to us, and we can keep it cold and controlled. That night, California shelters in place. Friday morning, we had a second one planned. We had about 1,200 cars lined up before it started, and we had to shut it down because of that volume. We just couldn't do it, right? So that has pushed people. Those types of things push people to go get more and bring more than they need home. And so hopefully that's stopped to an extent, or is it just a little more spread out and we have some time to catch up. But I would just encourage everybody to know that, and I was actually doing this the other Sunday. I got up Sunday morning, made coffee, opened up the pantry, trying to decide what to do for breakfast. And I just caught myself counting the cans, the vegetables and the soups, right? And I thought, okay, I got this. Good job, Dad. You got everything covered. Everybody's fine. And then I start thinking about the dad who doesn't have anything to count, right? And so he can't look at his kids and say, don't worry, kids, I got this. Everything's going to be fine. We need to get food into his pantry. And so we need people to not take more than they need at a time like this, so that we can get access to it and we can get it to people that need it right now.
You mentioned a few minutes ago about the problems making sure you retain the volunteer and, of course, the staff people that you have. Obviously, and you referenced this, and I think it's a very legitimate concern, because it's all across every field of endeavor, certainly in the healthcare industry and in the other parts of what we're dealing with. How do you protect those people? How do you give the volunteers and the staff the sense that as they do the things they do, as they interact with as large a number of people as you're going to interact with, they will be safe to the best extent possible from contagion?
So going back to the onset of this earlier last month, we sent half of our staff home to work remotely. Obviously, we're a warehouse and we have truck drivers and forklift drivers and warehouse staff. We needed them here, so they've been here. We were very blessed and continue to be blessed by the National Guard being here. That was one of the first things that we got from the governor's office, and we were at the time, and still might be, one of the few food banks that has them in there every day helping us. And so we have masks for them. We take everyone's temperature in the morning. We moved several truckloads of food off-site to a space that people were not going to be in, so that it would be somewhere else. If we did find ourselves having to shut down for any length of time, it wouldn't slow down food going out to people, and that's still there, and we still have that supply ready to access. We have our site sanitized once a week on Tuesday nights. They come in and fog everything, wipe down everything. Every hour we clean every surface. But it's
quite a massive task you're talking about.
Yeah, it is. And we actually put a tent up on Monday out in the parking lot. And the thinking is, when we lose the guard, and we will at some point, because they'll have to go staff one of the field hospitals, we're pretty sure. We think if we use this outside space, it's a 30 by 50 tent. We can spread people out so that they're spaced 10 feet or more apart. They can help us sort product that's coming in. They can help us distribute product to cars as they're driving through. One of the things that we did that our team pulled together very, very quickly after that Friday, when we backed up traffic all the way to the sawmill.
I was there that day too. I saw that.
That's right. You and I were together down the street. I thought we're going to be in so much trouble, but thank you to the local police for helping us fix that. But we put a system together using our current ticketing system for events. We hacked that so that we could have folks sign up for a time to come get food here at the warehouse. And so that gets sent out to people that have signed up for it. It tells them what day, it gives them a time slot to come in, and we're able to manage that traffic flow a lot better that way. And that's where we think we may need some help with volunteers helping us put food into those cars when it's time. So we're starting to plan this now. We think we may have another week or two with the National Guard, and then we'll have to pull the trigger on another strategy.
Difficult times. Tell us, from the, you have a good sense of the logistical challenges that you face. Towns, cities, village governments, local governments, obviously the county as a local government, but a larger overlay local government. How can those entities help? How can a town, how can a village, how can a city, how can a county help you accomplish the mission you've got?
I think right now, and I was just talking to the team about this morning. We keep hoping we're coming to some kind of tipping point, right? And it never quite comes. You strategize the best you can. You think you got a plan, and it's working at 9 o'clock in the morning, and by the afternoon you're gonna have to change it again. But we know that we're coming to a place where we're going to need more distribution sites around the county. And so where we see it working really well, northern part of the county, we feel very confident has a great system in place. Peekskill has their own plan going. Ossing has a plan going. North Salem High School has a plan going. Kurt, who runs OEM in North Salem, is one of the coolest guys I've ever met on the telephone, and I can't wait to shake his hand when this is over because he was so well prepared. He just called and said, I only need food. I said, well, what about volunteers? I have that. What about storage? Got it. Matt, just send me food. So we're sending him food. And taking that model and trying to share it with the towns, pushing it out to them, talking to their folks, getting them organized. But we're going to need more sites. And we're going to need more sites sooner than later, because if this is going to continue on into the late spring and God forbid into the summer, people are going to need to know this is where I go for food. This is where I go to get help. And right now, looking at the schools, they seem to be one of the best sites because they're built to the capacity of the town that they're in, right? So they have the parking lot that should be able to support the town that they're in for a drive-through pickup. The challenge is volunteers on the ground, storage for produce. And so if there's an empty high school cafeteria that has a large walk-in cooler, we can put produce in that, and it can stay for 5 to 7 days. We've got plenty of product coming. We just need to know that we have a safe way to distribute it. And so these are the conversations we're trying to get going now.
If I'm watching this video from, as an individual, not part of an organization, not part of a government, I'm moved by what you say. And I understand that this is a need and a challenge. And I assume I have discretionary time. How do you want me to interact with you? What can I do to help you as an individual built into what you're trying to accomplish?
Sure. If you, well, first of all, if you're hearing this and you need food, you go to our website. There's a drop-down menu there that'll show you places that have food available, and it'll show you how to sign up for the times here. If you want to volunteer, sit tight. We're going to be calling for that help very soon, and we're going to work with local organizations to facilitate that effort, and that can also be found on our website. And if you aren't comfortable going out and you have food in your pantry, we're just trying to encourage people, don't bring us the food out of your pantry yet. You need to hang on to it. You need to hang on to it for yourself, for your family, for your neighbors. Keep them out of our lines for as long as you can. And if you have extra, please share it with people around you. At some point, we will open back up for people to come by and drop off the extra cans of green beans and soup that they bought too much of, and all those things, but we aren't there yet. And then the most important thing right now is please donate. We need money to purchase the produce. We need money to hire more drivers and more help in our warehouse. We've been very fortunate that we haven't lost a large number of people to illness. And I continue to pray for this group of people every single night, which they are just the most amazing group of people out there. They have come back every single day, and they're tired and they're scared, and their spouses are scared for them. But they keep coming because they know if they don't come to work, people don't get the food they need.
Matt, it's a tremendous success story. We're very grateful for what you and your organization are doing. Really are. We're talking with Matt Honeycutt, who's the Vice President for Development for Feeding Westchester, and talking about the issues of food insecurity that have now ramped up because of the COVID virus outbreak across Westchester County. And Matt, again, thank you for the work that you've done. Thank you for being here today. We have had over the last number of weeks in this format, this Facebook interview, talked with some of our first responders. We've spoken to our County Director of Consumer Protection, our Commissioner of Health, Commissioner of Public Health, Commissioner of Mental Health. We've had the Mayor of New Rochelle on to talk about issues in New Rochelle. We expect to have the Mayor of Yonkers with us to talk about what's happening in his city, which is the largest city of the county, now has the largest presence of positive cases of COVID-19. It's a way to give you some information that goes beyond statistics, that goes beyond just the presentation of what's the latest news, but to understand some of the people and the faces that are making this tremendous sacrifice, as is Matt and his team at Feeding Westchester, to try to help us get through this. And I think something that was implicit in what Matt said and explicit in certain ways is we have to plan for the long haul. We can't plan that this is going to be over in a few days, a couple of weeks, maybe even a month, or even more than just a month. I remember speaking to my mom about what was it like during World War II. And the war had gone on in Europe for about a year and a half before America was brought in at Pearl Harbor. She was a young girl then. She was 19, turning 20. And, you know, she said, we didn't know how long it was going to go on. And when it was year 2 and year 3, it was very easy to be frustrated and tired with all the sacrifice. But they continue to sacrifice nonetheless. I don't know that we're in a 3 or 4 year scenario with what we are, but clearly this is not going to be cleared up in the short term. This generation of Americans, including people in my age category, that I'm a few years shy of 70, have never gone through something like this. But as Matt describes the challenges of feeding people, people need to be fed every day. And that challenge will go on day after day for as long as this challenge goes on. So I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. Thanks for watching. We will have our 2 o'clock update, and hopefully we will give you some information that will expand your knowledge of what's happening locally here. And then, of course, those in the higher public office will give you the greater picture of what's happening with the coronavirus outbreak. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good day.